Now, we don't often take on repairs. I tend to prefer building guitars from scratch, but every now and then we get something interesting, and today we have to install a new XY MIDI controlling touchpad. Now, we've decided to go with the Amptone Lab model, and I'm going to film a couple of videos going through the process of installing it into a Godin electric guitar. And here we go. Unlike some companies that I've used before, this is that supply the same product. This is very well branded and packaged up. Be very careful with the touchscreen. We have a rather attractive Godin here, and we're going to cut some holes. Make sure everything is square and lined up with the center line, which that is. You use a scalpel blade to mark the line. Obviously the point of no return. I've stopped wondering what guitars are worth before I start cutting holes in them. It's too scary. Anyway, there we have that. Now this guitar has got a very complicated MIDI and MIDI and piezo system, which is, the electronics are crazy. There's a massive PCB board in the back of there and one there as well. I don't want to mess around with it, and I'm not going to touch it as much as possible, if at all. So the problem is the entire control cavity there is taken up by this board, which I'll show you a shot of later. What we need to do is find somewhere else to place the controls for our XY MIDiPad. Now here are those controls. And what we're going to do, obviously you've got the MIDI socket which will go on the bottom somewhere. You've got a push-push selector, a rotary encoder, I love saying that, and your on-off button, or toggle. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the push button up there somewhere, or probably on the corner, because you can also use your thumb to do that. And then we will have the rotary encoder and the on-off switch there and there. Normally when doing this sort of a job, I would have removed the strings and all of the electronics, but there is no way that I'm going to take the electronics out of this instrument. They are way too complex for that. Now also I could be using a template and a ball bearing sort of router guide. That would be the easiest way to do that, but again I can't take the electronics out, so I'm going to use an overhead router, and on top of that I'm going to go freehand. This is the section where the glass will be recessed. So we need to cut through the incredibly thick polyurethane lacquer and just create a few nice corners. Out comes my leather worker's bradawl, a tool I use often and who is named. This is Jessica. You've got to name your favourite tools. If you do, they'll look after you. Here's the rather crazy wiring cavity. Finally the hardware starts going in. The time has come to install the innards. Now, this is where I'm very impressed by the Amptone Lab people. Every single one of the little cables is numbered. 2 goes with 2. It slips in, it's easy. In the past I've used other people's kits and it has taken me several hours with a soldering iron to wire all of this together. Now, in his instructions he says that you've got to point the cables away from the guitar's potentiometers, so I will do that. I assume that is to reduce crossover noise, humming, that sort of thing. Obviously I've pre-drilled a couple of holes so that I can locate the unit. Something else that is useful, it's adjustable so that your LED is in the center, which is always good. Now, the only problem with having something pre-wired, and it is a minor problem, is that you end up with, or you can end up, depending on the placement of your pots and switches, etc., with extra long cables. Now, I don't want bits and pieces of wire running around inside my cavity. These things, if you're playing guitar and that is vibrating against a box or something, it would be most annoying. See, this is how easy it is. I'm talking and working at the same time, and it is about as far from soldering as you possibly can get. The pieces slip in place and you are sorted. Now I think I want that piece on that side, and the same with this. And there's no way that you can get this wrong. Now, obviously we've got those. Something I think they should probably include in their kit is a little P-clip like this. I'm lucky, I'm a guitar builder, I have all sorts of lovely little toys floating around. But the P-clip sits like that around the wires, and you can then screw your wires down and in a corner so that you won't have any problems with nasty vibrations and extraneous noise. Here we have the final layout. I've used 5 P-clips. None of these little tabs are able to move and we won't get any unwanted vibrations. Good job. Here we have the touch screen itself. This ribbon connector is fragile and a little bit fiddly. You see the white bit? That white rectangle has to be pointed at the back of the guitar. So when you put the connector in, it slides in like that. It goes into this small section there. This is the little bit that the ribbon cable fits into. And you've got to flip that out like that. And then, with the white section facing the back of the guitar, you slip your cable in. And then lock it in place by pushing that connector back, like so. And that connector is firmly installed. Now, with the ribbon cable attached, it's time to finalize the installation. Ribbon cables feel a little bit flimsy, but the whole point is that they're very flexible and you can bend it around corners quite nicely. The hole that you made is larger than the piece of glass, so that's not a problem either. We've got a piece of white, well, I say paper, I'm not entirely sure what it actually is, but that is the LED's diffuser. Now I'm pushing down so that bends nicely, and there we have our piece of glass in place, and obviously the screen surround goes there. So the last thing to do is screw that down. You've got to make sure that all the edges are nice and hidden and attractive, and we're very nearly done. Something that you don't often get included in kits like this is the battery. So they really are thinking about their clients. Battery on, and there we have a working XY MIDiPad installation. I love the little blue LED ring around that. I think that's incredibly cool. Now, there are many demonstrations of how it sounds and what you can do with it. You can control a Kaoss pad, etc. I'm not going to do anything about that. In summary, this is a very, very good kit. It's put together incredibly well by the guys at Amptone Labs. It's relatively inexpensive for what it is. In fact, it's much cheaper than I thought it should be. In comparison to the other kits that I've used that are similar, the installation it's massively easier. The last time I did this, it took much longer to do, and I had to do soldering and troubleshoot and all of that. This, you do not need to know electronics to do this. You just need to be able to cut a hole in the front of your guitar, and many of us can do that. So quite frankly, I'm incredibly impressed. There are a couple of small things that I would improve on in the kit. I would put slightly better screws in there. I would put a more robust MIDI output. The one that's on there is the standard, but the standard is for keyboards and things like that, and guitarists tend to beat things up a little bit more. And the battery clip is one of the softer plastic ones. You can get better ones that would be more robust, but other than that, I can't find anything wrong with it. The installation is 3 or 4 hours, or less if you've got templates for the routing. It's something that you can do at home, and quite frankly, I would recommend you get this kit. I have to say that this is not a paid commercial review, endorsement, whatever. The first time I opened a box from these guys. This is now the second one I've had. The first time I opened the box I said that I had to do a video of it because the quality of the work is it's amazing. It's really, really good. Similar to my work. My guitars are amazing and really, 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 really good, of course. Anyway, this has been a Crimson Guitars video, how to build a guitar, yada yada. Check out our other videos. We've got series following an entire guitar from start to finish. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and don't forget to share us or share our work with all of your friends and come and buy loads of guitars. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.